The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene's alongside. Yeah, I lost the button there for a second. Welcome into the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. I'm surprised that you're wearing that today.
Defense is still good.
Defense
I'm still
is
a fan. Just our little, our little Mormon mission quarterback wasn't very good yesterday.
No.
And guess what? That's going to happen. When you play a rookie, sometimes shit's going to go sideways.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Some games in the NFL yesterday in week 2, they did not go as we expected. Closer games than we expected almost all over the league.
They already got somebody new in the comments. We're like an AA meeting for sports.
Welcome.
Random sales guy.
Random sales guy. Is that
Probably my
name?
favorite YouTube name I've ever seen.
Well, it is very fitting for that profession. Being in the radio business for 20 years, it's always random sales guy. What's his guy.
The fat guy.
Yeah.
You know that, and you know exactly who I'm talking about too.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah.
We love you, Scotty.
Oh, you didn't have to say his name, you dick.
He's the only one in the building, so he knew who we were talking about anyway. Week 2. How about them Buccaneers? Yeah. The defense putting in 2 defensive touchdowns at the end of the game. The damn Carolina Panthers. Yes, Kevin Vick, you got to win.
Come on, Panthers fans. Let's go. I've been expecting you all day.
Roadhouse, the New Orleans Saints, a week after they beat the Green Bay Packers handily. And it's the one constant with that team that we've been saying all offseason long, you're going to be scared of that defense.
That defense is pretty damn good.
And they're everywhere.
That defense is pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm. And
by the way, and I have to say this, Kirk Herbstreit, Matt Rule would not take the USC job if they wrapped it in billion-dollar bills. Can we stop that? I've heard that like 4 times over the week.
That Matt Rule's
going to take the USC job. No, the fuck he's not.
No, because he's sitting on a team right now that could win several NFC South Division championships back to back.
Might win one this year.
Nah, stop that. It's cute to think about it, but until the time comes where there is no more. I'm just going to tell
you, I've already heard you say this. Oh, they can't contend with Tampa Bay. I just need you to understand, they do the one thing that has always fucked with Tom Brady. Pressure. And that's get pressure up the middle.
Yep.
It's one thing to have an edge rusher. He can see edge rushers. Mm-hmm. It's that pressure up the middle that screws with his head.
Well, unless Ronald Jones learns how to fucking pass block, it might be a lot of trouble. There were like 3 really bad whiffs on his part this week, and that's why you don't see him out on the field very much.
I figure we have to start with New Orleans and Carolina.
Of course, we have to start with New Orleans and Carolina because nobody expected that. I expected that the Saints, they were going to figure something out, or they had figured something out after they just steamrolled the Green Bay Packers last week. Jameis Winston looked efficient. He had the 5-touchdown performance. Everything was going well. And then, a round of applause. Jameis Winston shows back up, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, what a performance he had.
There were a lot of bad QBRs yesterday.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston just so happened to be...
was he last?
Are you looking at the box score right now?
I'm not looking at the box.
Don't look.
Okay.
Who was the leading rusher of the New Orleans Saints yesterday?
The leading rusher for the New Orleans Saints was Alvin Kamara.
Where's that? Oh. Alvin Kamara had 8 carries for 5 yards.
Nice.
Woohoo! The leading rusher of the New Orleans Saints was Jameis Winston.
Hi.
The second leading rusher for the New Orleans Saints was Taysom Hill. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That was ugly.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Saints fans that came at me and said, oh, I guess you were wrong. Man, I didn't get a lot of that yesterday. Weird. All those, verified New Orleans Saints fans accounts? Crickets.
Right.
Just death.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been a traumatic game because I think you all died from excitement.
Jameis Winston, 11-22, 111 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The Carolina Panthers defense is good. And there is going to be every team is going to struggle to beat them. I don't expect them to lose big to anybody this year.
No,
and
Sam Darnold is good.
Sam Darnold's good.
I tried my damnedest to tell you.
In that Joe Brady offense, Sam Darnold is efficient. He handles the ball well. He can see the field well. He can, he knows when to tuck it and run. We saw that with the touchdown in the first game of the season against the Jets.
If you're streaming quarterbacks, that's the guy. That's the guy to go get. Because the schedule for the Panthers, at the Texans, at the Cowboys, Eagles, Vikings, Giants, Falcons, Patriots, who we'll get to in a minute, Cardinals, who just let Kirk Cousins just carve them sideways, Washington football team, who just let Daniel Jones carve them sideways, and you could just assume. Now, at the end of the year, you go Bucks. That's in playoff weeks.
Bucks.
So you should probably have a contingency plan. But Sam Darnold is not only ownable in fantasy football leagues, he is a consistent week after week starter. He will finish in the top 12 of quarterbacks this year in fantasy football.
305 yards yesterday, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. It looked really good. That offense seems to be clicking. I guess as Carolina Panther fans, you look at it and go, we wish we could get Christian McCaffrey going a little bit more than he is. Granted, in the Jets game, he had 100 and 100, or damn near 100 and 100, rushing and receiving. But yesterday...
A lot of it was late.
Right. But yesterday it was, 65 on both sides, just about. Had a touchdown as well. So that's the only criticism I think you could have as a Panthers fan.
That Saints defense is still good. Okay? And I'm going to level with you. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the Carolina Panthers have played 2 of the 5 best defenses that they play all year long already. And yes, the Jets are one of those. We'll get to that in a minute. They could have lost by 70 yesterday if that defense was not pretty fucking good.
Right. Any other closing thoughts on the Panthers and the Saints?
Prevailing thoughts.
To me, after 2 weeks, I'd say the Carolina Panthers are a great threat to make the playoffs.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Where would you say they fall in the NFC? How many teams do you think are better than them in the NFC?
I would say maybe 6. Definitively, if we're playing that definitive game.
6 definitively? You're wrong.
We got. I believe the Cardinals are better. The Rams are better.
I'm not dead sold on the Cardinals.
Okay.
They should have lost the Vikings yesterday.
They should.
Unfortunately, their kicker went Snoopy. The commentators didn't know that. If you haven't seen that video, by the way, the Minnesota home announcers, they didn't know he missed it. Oh, he made it! Oh shit! We suck again.
I'd say the Bucks are better. I don't want to put the Packers in that, but I got to see them tonight.
You shouldn't.
The Cowboys. Okay, so maybe there's just 4.
There you go.
Maybe there's just 4 because the Seattle Seahawks, I think Carolina will beat them.
I do too.
In a head-to-head matchup, and the 49ers can't stay fucking healthy.
No, the 49ers.
We'll get to that in a minute.
The 49ers must have run training camp on an old ancient Indian burial ground or something. They had no running backs at one time yesterday. They were all in the tent.
Yep.
Going to need a bigger tent.
Yep. Maybe there are just four teams that I believe are definitively better than the Panthers, and I want to see more from the Green Bay Packers. But hell, even if you put them in there, they're 6. They'd be 6th in the NFC. Now, granted, they did just, one of their wins against the Jets, so we're going to kind of take down the expectations.
That win doesn't mean a whole lot. And
the Saints, this is what you're going to get. I think we found out this is what you're going to get from the Saints. you're going to get good.
Inconsistent.
Right, you're going to get inconsistent play just as you always have from Jameis Winston.
That's what he does.
This is the
goods are very good, the bads are very bad.
Yes.
Well, I mean, we said that going into the season. To me, he's a constant week in, week out starter. You just have to, in fantasy football, you just have to know that every once in a while, it's not going to go well.
All right, next game. Let's go with your Jets. The New England Patriots took down the New York Jets yesterday 25-6. I tried to tell you that this was going to be a multi-score game.
And if Zach Wilson had not put up the worst quarterback performance I have ever seen, and that's coming from a Jets fan that watched Mark Sanchez throw 5 one time.
Right.
This was the worst I've ever seen a quarterback play. Had he been average, he could have been below average, and I'd have been right. Straight up, I watched damn near every snap of the
You think they'd have been within a touchdown?
I don't think New England's very good. Period. I don't think they're very good, and the overreaction to Mac Jones is fucking comical to me. The only reason we're not killing Mac Jones right now is because of how bad Zach Wilson was. They were on the same field, and he looked like he knew the offense. You know how many of his 22 completions went to wide receivers? Is 9 against arguably the worst secondary in the league.
Yep.
Talent-wise.
Yep. He focused mostly on the tight ends and the running backs, keep everything short, take care of the football. This is all Bill's asking Mac to do.
And that's not a recipe for what is coming up for New England.
No, not at all. It's good enough to beat the bad teams.
It's good enough to beat the Jets.
By the way, Miami.
Bad. They are bad.
Woo! We're going to talk about them in a second. But, yeah, you shouldn't be hanging your hat on too much that you lost a close one to the Miami Dolphins and then, demolished the Jets, which
well,
I
here's
think
the thing.
everybody's
You come
do.
up against the next 4 weeks, you go Saints, Buccaneers, both in New England. You have to go to the Texans, who are nominally better than we thought they were.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys, who can score on anybody. I could argue you'll lose 3 of those 4.
Yeah.
I could easily argue that. Good Jameis Winston, you'll lose to New Orleans because you can't keep up with them.
Mac Jones' final stat line, 22 of 30 for 186 yards. I mean, James White caught 6 passes out of the backfield. My question to you coming out of this game, though, is does this usage make James White a playable fantasy flex?
He's always a playable fantasy flex in PPR. It's just going to be inconsistent. Now, I will say with Mac Jones, he's going to see a lot of it. Mac Jones can't push the ball downfield.
Yeah.
He can't. He's just not. And please stop calling him Tom Brady 2.0. He's not. He's not. He's going to be. I'll be honest with you, my favorite comp through 2 weeks to Mac Jones is Colt McCoy.
Ooh.
That's who he is.
Okay.
He's a really high-end, not going to turn the ball over, not going to beat you version of Colt McCoy. And I don't think that team around him. I want you to think about this. New England got the ball 4 times in Jets territory yesterday.
Yes.
They scored 2 touchdowns. And one of them took Damian Harris going absolute fucking Marshawn Lynch across 6 Jet defenders. And literally every yard on the touchdown run was after contact.
Yeah. If that run didn't do something for you, though, there's something wrong with you. Damian Harris broke 7 tackles, I think, on the way to that 26-yard touchdown, carrying a gang of New York Jets with him into the end zone.
You remember that thing I tried to tell you in the offseason about Damian Harris is a running back that you should want, and he's going way too low?
Yep.
It's bared itself out in the first 2 weeks, hasn't it? Do you know how many running backs in the NFL have more touches, more carries than Damian Harris?
5.
Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, and Mark Ingram. Whoa.
Mark Ingram.
There is something I did not think I would be saying this year.
Yeah. New England cannot take. They should not be taking too much from this win over the Jets, but we all know they will. We all know they will. We hung in there with Miami in Week 1. We just beat the Jets.
Miami who's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, let's just go straight into that game. Buffalo and Miami.
Okay, Buffalo took down Miami. 35-0 Bills over the Dolphins.
That team's not good.
No.
They're not good, and I'm telling you, mark my words. You just remember I said this. They're doing their due diligence on Deshaun Watson as we speak.
And they should be.
Just read the tea leaves, all right? Just think about what's happened in the last week. Tua goes out yesterday, and be really honest with yourself. Jacoby Brissett walks onto the field. We were sitting with Asheville Police Chief David Zack, who is a huge Buffalo Bills fan. He's from Buffalo. You know what the first words out of his mouth were? Probably the same shit that every one of you thought. I'm not sure Miami's not better with Jacoby Brissett. I'm not sure they don't make me more nervous with Jacoby than they did with Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, that was the first thing I said was, Tua's down. Well, here comes Jacoby, and guess what? He's going to be better than Tua.
And that's why you spend the money on a backup quarterback, period.
Yep. Tua Tagovailoa sacked twice in the game, hurt his ribs, I guess it was, on the in the first quarter, had to leave the game. Jacoby Brissett comes in, and they just couldn't do anything.
And I got news for you. The price on Deshaun Watson has changed a little bit. Has to. Unless Nick Casario is absolutely a dumb shit, it's changed. Because now, if you're willing to give me players, the Texans are better than we thought they were. I still don't think they're good. I think it's still a fool's errand because I don't buy Cleveland that much. But you've already beat the hell out of Jacksonville. You hung with Cleveland, which means less to me than it means to most people. But you could convince yourself that we're just a few pieces away.
Right.
And maybe the Dolphins are willing to come off that. Because right now, Miami's looking, they are sitting at the precipice going, if we don't do something, this could be a lost year in a hurry. And you have a little bit of a benefit here that you get the Raiders, you get the Raiders next week. I don't really give a damn who you have. I don't care who lines up under center for Miami. You're not beating Vegas in Vegas. Then you go Colts, Buccaneers, and then the schedule leans out. If you can steal one of these three games, one of these next three games, looking squarely at the Colts, you can be 2-3 going into a matchup with the Falcons. You've got the Texans and the Jets and the Giants and a series of teams that you can beat. I don't know that you can beat them with Tua Tagovailoa.
No.
I now feel exactly about Tua like I always thought I would. I was down on him in the pre-draft process. I was down on Justin Herbert as well, so I wasn't completely right about quarterbacks in that class. But I was down on him then. I'm down on him now. And if Miami doesn't do something, this can be a flush it down the toilet, Brian Flores gets fired year.
Yeah.
The team I saw yesterday could go 5-12, and it wouldn't shock me even a small iota.
The Dolphins yesterday against the Bills were just a comedy of errors. You had Tua get hurt, then Devontae Parker drops a touchdown, Jakeem Grant loses a fumble inside the 10-yard line, Malcolm Brown can't get in on a 4th and goal at the 1, and they also dropped a punt at some point. It was just bad, like throwing gasoline onto a fire. Over and over and over again. Meanwhile, the Bills, yes, they didn't get the performance that you would probably expect from Josh Allen, but I guess a lot of that has to do with how good the Miami Dolphins secondary is. I think 17-33, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception.
Oh, yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out. You remember that cheap running back I told you to play? Who was that? Devin Singletary.
Devin Singletary. Yeah.
You're welcome.
No sooner than the words came out of his mouth that the first damn big play of yesterday was Devin Singletary hitting a big touchdown run. And, ended up with 82 yards in that touchdown. So it wasn't a bad day. Did you play him anywhere? You keep doing this. You keep saying guys and then not playing them. Did you play Singletary anywhere? I had to check. You should take your own advice. I think that's a
no. Dick.
That's okay.
I had the worst DraftKings team in the history of time. I vow to do better this week.
Yeah.
I will not sleep this week until I am comfortable with my betting picks, which I was this past week, and I told you I wasn't going to go. I told you I wasn't going to go 6-6.
Yeah.
Betting college games. I was right. I went 9-9.
That's better.
Pick more games, same result.
In our winner take half contest that we do each and every week on those Sunday main slates, you can get into the contest with us. The link is always in the description to our Sunday video. And winner take half, you take half if you win. The other half goes to charity, goes to Eblin Charities St. Nicholas Project, part of our Competition for a Cause series. Yesterday, Alex Sanner is the winner of the contest. Looks like Adam Harris came in second. Both those, Sander won with 146. Right behind him was Harris with 143. I finished in third with 119. A little bit of a gap there between the top two and the next group. Yeah, Jeremy's team scored 86 points.
It wasn't good. It said, Willie, it wasn't no fun.
The Toilet Bowl award for yesterday goes to Justin Parton, whose team scored 64.
Weren't no fun.
Yikes.
Don't play your own players on draft.
His highest scorer was Darren Waller.
Yeah, who was bad.
No, Damian Harris. So Damian Harris scored 13. Waller scored 11. Everybody else on his team scored below that, which is gross. Dak Prescott only scored 8 points, which is a travesty after that Week 1 performance against Tampa Bay. Broncos and the Jaguars. Broncos win 23-13. I thought this was going to be out of hand, and it was not. It was comfortable. Denver never questioned, and no one will ever question whether they're going to be able to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. I am supremely confident that the Jacksonville Jaguars will not win a game this year. They are awful.
If they do, I don't know who it's going to be against. They do play the Jets in a game that will set the NFL back 10 years. Trevor Lawrence was fucking awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
14 of 33, 118 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks.
Hey, but on the bright side,
James
Urban
Robinson?
Meyer finally figured out that James Robinson's the best running back on the team. All right, good job, Urban. Let's go.
Yeah. Not that it really mattered.
You dumb shit. That Carlos Hyde thing, that was fun while it lasted, wasn't it?
Not that it really mattered, though. Robinson didn't do anything anyway. 11 carries for 47
64 total yards on 14 touches. Against what is going to be first of all, that Denver defense is really good.
Of course.
This week, guess who they play? Arizona Cardinals. Defense is not great. Just watch Minnesota go pound town on their defense. Then you go Bengals, the Titans, the Dolphins, the Seahawks. There are better days ahead. There are better days ahead for James Robinson. If you're selling, I'm buying. Just that's all I'm saying.
Okay. Teddy Bridgewater, extremely efficient once again. Completed 70% of his passes last year for the Carolina Panthers. And he looks to be on that same path this year. 26 of 34. He only had 8 incompletions in the entire game. One of them was dropped. So he was only off on 7 passes in the entire game. 328 yards, 2 touchdowns. I felt pretty good about my streamer. It was not going well to start out the game. To start out yesterday's 1 o'clock slate, because I dropped Sam Darnold to stream Teddy Bridgewater against the Jags. And I thought, I'm going to regret doing that. And I didn't. Turned out Bridgewater had a very efficient day. Cortland Sutton was the guy to have in that wide receiver core.
I'll admit, I was wrong.
What
There's
happened?
no nothing. Cortland Sutton looked fine. Now I am now ready to roll with Cortland Sutton.
Yep.
I'm a little late to the party, but that's what I said. I need to see him look like he looked a year ago.
Yep.
And guess what? He did.
Yep. Caught 9 of 12 targets for 159 yards. KJ Hamler. Where's the crickets? We don't have any crickets.
We don't have crickets.
We don't have any crickets.
He had 3 targets.
How many catches? 1?
1.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, here is a stat for the Broncos they have 2 tight ends that do the same shit, and I don't like that for either of them. Noah Fant and Albert Okwuegbunam. You loved him coming out.
Oh yeah, Big O.
You were
Albert O.
Loved
Loved him at Missouri. NFL, not so much. And then
the other thing that you need to know with Denver, the regression to the mean on Melvin Gordon has happened. And this will be Javonte Williams' job much sooner than later.
I think they completely split the carries yesterday.
13-13.
Yep. So there's that.
Gordon had 1 more target. That was the only difference between the two of them. And Javonte Williams just did way more with it.
Getting Jerry Jeudy back is going to be big for them whenever he comes back, because I think by then you'll have Cortland Sutton in a groove. Teddy Bridgewater is going to be just fine. That defense is going to be good enough to keep them in every game they're in. I'm starting to come around on that. Yeah, maybe I was right about the Denver Broncos, that they could be a sneaky team in the AFC.
There you go.
However, in that division, they are.
You get one more. Well, you get one more week to let the good times roll.
Yeah.
They get the Jets next week, which is going to be. I don't even need to know what the number is. I don't give a fuck. Under. I don't care if they set that at 38. Under. But then you go Ravens at the Steelers, Raiders at the Broncos, Washington football team at the Cowboys, Eagles, Chargers, Chiefs. Do I need to keep going? Mm-hmm. Or is my point proven? This could be the first team in NFL history to start 3-0 and be 3-9. I don't like them in not one game, I just said. Mm-hmm. Then they get the Lions and the Bengals. That'll be fun. I just see this as a 6-win team. Okay. Nothing has changed for me with Denver. Yeah, the defense is good. I knew that. Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater's been efficient against two god-awful, shitty defenses.
Mm-hmm. Then let's get into the part of the afternoon slate that I'm just putting it all into inexplicable territory. The outcomes of the rest of the 1 o'clock games were baffling to me.
Okay.
The 49ers struggling with the Philadelphia Eagles, 17-11. I just don't get it. Am I underselling the Pittsburgh or the Philadelphia defense?
No.
That much?
No.
Or did the San Francisco offense just look disjointed?
San Francisco couldn't run a greasy peg up a cat's ass, which is why I tried to tell you, don't do this with Elijah Mitchell, and then a bunch of you did.
Mm-hmm.
I have no sympathy for you when I directly looked into that camera right there Sunday morning and said, don't do it, you'll regret it.
Yep.
Because the front four of Philadelphia is better than you think it is. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, Jalen Hurts still sucks.
Yeah.
50% completion guy, holds on to the ball too long. He's best when he's running the ball. That's it. And I told you he would be able to do that because there was no Dre Greenlaw. Mm-hmm. Ta-da! It went exactly how I told you it would. Yeah. But San Francisco still covered. And the reason that number was so low is because Vegas felt San Francisco's not being able to score. And I agreed with them. To me, this was not a struggle. I need you to understand that 91 of Jalen Hurts' yards were on one play. Mm-hmm. One busted coverage to Quez Watkins.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do other than that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Other than that one pass. He had one 91-yarder. The second longest play of the game to the same receiver was, 26 yards? Mm-hmm. Other than that, he had two that were over 10. Mm-hmm. That's who he is.
Quez Watkins was the only Eagle that had more than 24 receiving yards.
And I got news for you. Look at what's coming for them. At the Cowboys.
Loss.
Hammer, nail. Kansas City Chiefs.
Loss.
At the Panthers.
Loss.
Buccaneers.
Loss.
At the Raiders.
Loss.
There you go. Philadelphia's who we told you they are. Jalen Hurts will be a fine fantasy option. Mm-hmm. That is the best I can say about them.
Mm-hmm. They did suffer not only the loss to the 49ers, but a couple of injuries as well to their big guys. One on the offensive line, one on the defensive line. It was not a good day for Brandon's yesterday. If they played for the Philadelphia Eagles, Brandon Brooks, all-pro guard, got knocked out with an injury, and then Brandon Graham had a season-ending injury. So that's really going to hurt that. The
49ers have some really shitty injury luck.
They do.
But I still look at that team and go, they're pretty fucking good. Mm-hmm. They're pretty good. And I got news for who does San Francisco play next week?
I don't know.
I got it. If you don't have it pulled up, I got it. Packers, Seahawks at the Cardinals. That's the next three. If you can come out of that 3-2, mm-hmm. you should feel pretty good because then you go into a much leaner part of the schedule. I still believe in San Francisco. Nothing changed for me. Still very good. You're not going to see Trey Lance for a while. You're not.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo has control of this team. Mm-hmm. It is Jimmy's team. They will have packages for Trey Lance, but that's all you'll see.
Yep. The running back injuries continued for the 49ers yesterday. Elijah Mitchell hurt his shoulder. JaMychal Hasty got hurt. He hurt his ankle. And then Trey Sermon came in for his one carry, went 8 yards, fumbled the ball, and got hurt.
And Trenton Cannon is trying to have one rush on every team in the NFL. Had one for Baltimore in week 1, had one for San Francisco last week.
Nice. He may be their feature back next week.
No. Still Elijah Mitchell.
Unless he can't play.
I think he'll be fine.
Okay.
I don't think he'll be good, but I think he'll be fine.
Right. Los Angeles Rams and the Indianapolis Colts. I thought this was going to be a hammer spot for the Rams, and it was not, despite the fact that Carson Wentz is still bad.
I hate myself sometimes. I told you Vegas was trying to get me to wager this on the Indianapolis side.
Yes, you did.
And what did I do? I'm going to be mad as fuck at myself tomorrow because Indy's going to cover this number, but I'm still taking the Rams. Dumb shit. I knew exactly how this game was going to go, and I would not listen to myself. But, Carson Wentz sucks. I don't care. It is hard to win on the road in the NFL, especially against a team that's vaguely talented, which the Colts are vaguely talented.
Yep.
I see people ready to jump off bridges on the Colts, and I just do not get it. I know you're 0-2. I know Wentz is hurt again. I don't care. You have played horrendously 2 times against 2 of the best teams on your schedule. You very easily could have been 1-1, and had a couple things going your way, you could have been more in that Seahawks game. You caught some bad breaks. That's what happens. They go to the Titans this week. If you told me the Colts win that game, I wouldn't be shocked. Wouldn't be shocked at all. What do the Colts do well?
Defend.
There you go. They have a big old dude right in the middle of that defense named DeForest Buckner that is looking at, Jarrell Henderson was the leading rusher yesterday for the Rams. He had 50 yards. And it wasn't that they didn't try to get him the ball.
And what was the deal with his injury?
I don't know.
Is it going to be long-term is the question. Sony Michel came in at the end of the game, and they kind of force-fed him the ball.
We'll know more on that probably today or tomorrow.
Right.
So I don't know currently. I haven't heard anything that's actionable intel, so I just don't know.
Yeah. Carson's hurt again. Michael Pittman, your little boyfriend, he had a big day. 8 catches for 123 yards. Once again, it was Zach Pascal finding the end zone inexplicably. 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks. It'll stop. It'll stop. He'll end up the season, like I said last week, with 4 total touchdowns, and we'll all move on. The Rams, however, we thought about Cooper Kupp being shadowed by Kenny Moore. Apparently, that did not happen. And Cooper Kupp was the guy to have. 9 catches, 163 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Matthew Stafford had another 2-touchdown performance, damn near 300 yards passing. And next week, the Rams get the Bucks.
That's going to be the game of the week next week.
It's going to be so much fun. Just like we all knew this week, Sunday Night Football was going to be fun. Next week, you're going to get a great primetime matchup between the Bucks and the Rams. The Raiders. I was so wrong. I was so wrong about the Raiders.
I want to, by the way, I asked you this question, and I didn't fucking like your answer.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask the people watching this show. Answer this in the comments. We pick games against Police Chief David Zack on Fridays. Should I be beholden to what I said on that show, or the fact that I audibled to take the Raiders plus the 6 during the Sunday show? Should I be allowed to count that? Talk amongst yourselves.
He didn't like my answer because I said no. You can't audible your pick after you've already locked it in. It's not in the spirit.
And I would be saying the same thing if I had lost it. I changed my pick before the game. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. I say no, but I'm gonna let you guys discuss, and we'll move on from there.
Evan Doyle said, "Sure, money talks." I did bet that game.
Good for you.
One of the few that I got right yesterday. Jason Trump said, "If you make a bet, does it lock it in?" That's a very good point.
There you go. You hit submit, it will not let you change it.
You're not wrong.
Yep.
You're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That is an actionable response. All right, I'll take the L. I just want it known that I did say the Raiders were going to cover the number.
Yes, you did. Derek Carr, 28 of 39, 382 yards, 2 touchdowns. Would have had a third touchdown, but that third touchdown that he hit to Bryan Edwards called back for a holding penalty. So it could have been worse against the Steelers. I was completely wrong. I was completely wrong about Derek Carr. And the Raiders.
There it is.
Yeah. This is a better team than I thought they were. They have come out the first 2 weeks of the season, and they have beaten the Ravens. They have beaten the Steelers. 2 games that I didn't think that they were going to have a shot to win. And they handled them, basically.
My fear with the Steelers is I saw out of Matt Canada what I used to see out of Randy Feitner. Oh, we can't run the ball? Fuck it. Stop trying. That scares me.
Yeah.
That's how Ben winds up peeling himself off the pavement like he did multiple times yesterday.
That Steelers offensive line continues to be a problem. They're not giving Ben Roethlisberger a lot of time to make decisions, and Najee Harris, when he tried to run the ball, he wasn't good.
We played the fun game before the show of I gave him every game for the Raiders moving forward, knowing what you know now. And what's your new record for the Las Vegas Raiders?
12-5.
There you go.
12-5.
I told you would eventually come around to my way of thinking.
Yeah. Yep.
Dick Vitale is super pissed that I didn't have Derek Carr in the top 100.
Okay.
If you notice,
he would be now. He probably
he
would
was in the first 10 outside of it, and that's not a slight. I think there weren't that many quarterbacks in the top 100. I mean, there were a lot of good quarterbacks that didn't get in there. He's still, if you told me right now I had to run a fantasy draft of quarterbacks in the NFL, how many am I taking ahead of Derek Carr? It's still the same names that it was. I'm higher on him than anybody. There's nobody that talks into a microphone for a living that's higher on Derek Carr than I am. How do I catch shit about that?
Now,
at the end of the day, would you still take Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, let's see, who else did I have? Ryan Tannehill, Pat Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott. That's the 11 I had in front of him. You tell me who I'm wrong on. There's not one. There's not one. He's still 12. That's where I've had him for 3 years. Nothing on that has changed. It's just now everybody else sees that I was right.
He did connect with Henry Ruggs on a big 61-yard bomb, so it's nice to see Henry Ruggs finally getting into the action. So hit that waiver wire this week, because I think I'm in 7 different leagues that somebody dropped Henry Ruggs last week. And I considered it. I considered, like, should I pick him up? And I didn't.
Stephen Tao just said Aaron Rodgers is washed. That take is going to age very quickly.
No,
Yeah, that one. That's one of those that where I'm going to look at the camera tomorrow and go, "You still feel that way?"
Oh wait.
when he throws up 400 yards tonight against the Jeff Akudalis Detroit Lions.
Yeah, let's stop with the overreactions here. I love
overreactions.
The same team that made him look bad last week just got trounced by Sam Darnold. Not a slight at Sam Darnold. We just talked great about him. All I'm saying is, as Jeremy likes to say, calm your tits.
John Delaney just asked on the Facebook feed, is Derek Carr an MVP candidate? Yep. If I was voting for MVP right now, of which why I would do that after 2 weeks, I ain't got the damnedest of a clue. My ballot would be split right now between Derek Carr and Tom Brady. And the schedule is pretty lean for the Raiders.
Now, playing devil's advocate on the other side, the Pittsburgh defense was pretty decimated by injuries.
I don't care.
Okay.
I do not care. You're playing in Pittsburgh. That is one of the hardest stadiums to win in the league.
Yeah.
You're not decrediting that win because, TJ Watt got a boo-boo. And Joe Hayden, who's one of the most overrated fucking corners in the league, he didn't play.
Oh, do Devin Bush next. Do Devin Bush.
Okay, now Devin Bush is a guy. That one was nominally important.
Yeah. You were already.
Oh God! And Justin Harvey even corrected me on. Hey, you're right. I'd have to split it 3 ways between Brady, Carr, and Kyler Murray.
Stephon Tuitt, Joe Hayden, Devin Bush
+3
did not even suit up for the game. Tyson Alualu had to be taken away, so that hurts with the pass rush. And then T.J. Watt also suffered an injury in the game in the second quarter and did not return. Last play of the game, Deontay Johnson goes down with an injury. We don't know how serious it is, but he could miss some time based on that. We will say Juju Smith-Schuster should have been the call. He had the touchdown that made his fantasy day a little better than everybody else's.
Yeah, and you know what you know how I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers receivers every week?
How?
Oh shit! I'm gonna get this wrong every fucking week. God, trade one of them to anywhere.
Me
to
and
the
you,
Jets.
Me and you, we had that one.
Shit.
9 catches for 105 yards for Deontay Johnson. Juju Smith-Schuster had the touchdown. Chase Claypool.
By the way,
obviously,
Deontay Johnson still outscored Juju Smith-Schuster for what it's worth.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Especially if you play in a league with bonuses for 100 yards.
Good point.
Deontay Johnson would have had 22 in every league I'm in. Juju Smith-Schuster would have had 6.
Right. Well, no, I was referring to the fantasy question that we were asked yesterday of should I start Corey Davis or Juju Smith-Schuster? Jonathan Welch and I were both heavy on the Juju side. You said, oh, it's Corey Davis by a mile. Nah, didn't happen.
Yeah, I failed to remember that Corey Davis was being thrown to by a child.
But I will say this: the Raiders beating the Steelers. You gotta now. If you're not changing your mind on the Raiders, you're just sticking your feet in the mud like an old man. You have to reassess, and we're going to be doing that throughout the week. This week we will have a short video for every
5
team.
minutes for about every team. About 5 minutes for every team in the NFL.
Yep.
There we go.
Talking about the first 2 weeks' performances, who we've changed our minds on, who we haven't, what the biggest problems are. Look for all of those coming here in the Sportsocracy.
Yeah, because I'm catching a lot of shade on shit we said 4 months ago.
Yeah.
There is one Bengals fan that I swear to you, there was one time that we said the Bengals were going to go 2-15. By the way, I don't feel much differently about that than I do now.
Right.
But he came in last week and said, I'm just here for one of many Bengals victories. And I responded, I've never seen 4 spelled that way.
Yeah.
I have never seen 4 spelled M-A-N-E-Y. M-A-N-Y. No E in many. In money, which I've lost a shitload of in the last 2 weeks.
The Browns and the Texans, 31-21. Browns come out victorious, but Chief Zach gets the win on that one as they covered the spread.
They didn't mean to.
They were 12.5 to 13-point underdogs. Only lose by 10. That's how that works. Tyrod Taylor got hurt in the game. Davis Mills had to come in. Did Davis Mills look good to you? Or did he look promising? You kept trying to tell me, oh, they should not even play Tyrod Taylor. They should just start out with Davis Mills. Do you still think that's the right path forward?
Tyrod Taylor gives them a better chance to win games. Davis Mills was not particularly good. Tyrod Taylor was.
Yep.
Tyrod Taylor adds another dynamic. If I'm the Houston Texans, I'm not trying to win games. I'm not, because this team's not good. I don't care that they stuck in there with Cleveland. You know what that tells me? Cleveland's not as good as you think they are. And I've said that forever. Houston plays Carolina this week on short rest, and Tyrod's already out. So Davis Mills is starting this game. Good fucking luck.
Panthers defense, hammer it up.
Yeah.
Next.
I thought I was withstanding the Panthers, playing them in fantasy this week to get to that Houston matchup next week.
Yep.
That turns out worked out pretty fucking well for me.
Unfortunately, the Kareem Hunt thing didn't happen for me this week. But Nick Chubb, 11 carries for 95 yards and a touchdown. Something called an Andy Janovich scored a touchdown, as well as a Demetric Felton, which helps no one. No one. Jarvis Landry got hurt in the game as well. Baker Mayfield, he's such a gamer. Did you see him separate his shoulder and then came back into the game?
Oh, God.
There was a lot of that going on social media yesterday, as the Browns took down the Texans 31-21.
By the way, can I just want to say, and I'm even going to bring my camera in on this one. This is to Kevin Stefanski. Run the damn ball! Nick Chubb averaged almost 9 yards a carry yesterday. He had 11 carries. Mm-hmm. What the fuck are you doing? If you can't see that Nick Chubb is markedly better than Kareem Hunt, you should not be a head coach in the NFL. I feel good. As somebody that played Nick Chubb in a lot of places yesterday.
Mm-hmm. The Bears beat the Bengals 20-17. We all tried to believe that the Bengals could pull out a win, but they couldn't. Andy Dalton got hurt. Justin Fields came in. He made some questionable decisions in the game.
He's not good, as I tried to tell you. He will be fantasy relevant, and he will not be a good real life quarterback.
He'll be like
Jalen Hurts 2.0.
Yeah,
with a markedly better arm. Mm-hmm. So guess what? You know what he's going to do? Hit some 90-yarders to guys like Quez Watkins. That's weird. Jalen Hurts did that this week. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's how that's going to keep going.
He did have, he had a fumble at one point in the game, but at least he had the wherewithal and the athletic ability to get back on the football and avoid the turnover.
Do you know what Justin Fields' QBR was?
Oh, it couldn't have been good. Had to be 42.
You were so close with 40, but you added a T to it. 4. His QBR was 4. Wow. 4. That's worse than Zach Wilson, who threw 4 interceptions.
Yikes. Okay.
And Joe Burrow was a 16. Whoa.
Justin Fields also throwing an interception where he did not see the linebacker in coverage, so that's concerning when he has to actually be the starter for the entire game. Again, we'll get more update on Andy Dalton. I would imagine Justin Fields may have this job.
Rob Johnson, +3. He just said Joe Brady needs to come to Cincinnati. I could not fucking agree with you more. I said that last year. Mm-hmm. I said Joe Brady should be getting a job in the NFL. And guess what? Now you've let him stick around in Carolina for another year, and now you get what you get. Mm-hmm. Because him and Sam Darnold are going to have fun times in the NFL this year. While Zach Taylor, who played quarterback in Nebraska, and he had lunch with Sean McVay one time. He's a fucking horrible NFL head coach. Horrible.
Roquan Smith had a pick 6 in this game for the Chicago Bears. Ended up being the difference maker, 53-yard interception return for a touchdown. There wasn't much to speak of star-wise in this game. Other than that, Joe Mixon was okay. David Montgomery, fine. They had like 60 yards apiece. There wasn't a whole lot of ball movement.
Here's the thing. Joe Mixon is going to be a fantasy stud if he can hold up to this workload. Mm-hmm. How many running backs for the Cincinnati Bengals had touches? Not carries. How many had touches?
I guess 3. Samaje Perine had 1.
Oh, no, it's 2. It's 2. Perine did have a target, not a touch.
Oh, okay.
Chris Evans had 1 reception. Not one of them had a carry.
Really?
Joe Mixon had every carry on this team.
Okay.
They are going to ride Joe Mixon, hopefully not into an early grave, because he is the workload on Mixon is just dumb. This is the reason that I was telling you in the third round of drafts, if Joe Mixon somehow finds a way to the first, second pick of the third round, you take him and you don't think about it.
Sunday's later games, the 4 o'clock slate, very entertaining ball games.
This is where Jeremy got a little fuzzy. Stephen Tao showed up at the social, and there were balls of fire.
You were already in the bag. You were already in the bag by the time Stephen Tao got there, so don't even try to blame Stephen for being a bad influence.
I showed up at the social at 1:05 and went, I am here to get blitzed.
He did. And it wasn't halftime before me and Amy both looked at each other and went, I said to her, you're going to have to carry him home.
She didn't.
It's good.
I walked home.
I'm glad you rallied.
I didn't walk home. I walked to the car, and she took me home.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win 48-25 over the Atlanta Falcons. I told you this game was going to be closer than you expected it was going to be, to a point.
It wasn't.
It was a 3-point game with 9 minutes to go in the ballgame.
And it still wasn't close. It still was not close. You never had a doubt they were going to win this game.
Well, no.
And I never had a doubt they were going to cover this game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 2 pick sixes on 2 consecutive plays, that helps.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt at all. Mike Edwards was no doubt the defensive star of the fourth quarter as he picked off Matt Ryan, and then the very next play, the ball got tipped at the line of scrimmage, and he caught another one and ran it in for the touchdown. I still hate the fact that they threw the damn taunting flag on him for running in backwards.
I hate
that shit so much.
Stupid.
48.
Hey, you don't want me to taunt you? Do better.
Yeah, 48.
Be better at your job.
48-25 was the final score. Rob Gronkowski scored 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans had 2 touchdowns. Chris Godwin caught the 5th touchdown pass of the afternoon for Tom Brady. Matt Ryan was not bad, though.
Mike Evans was real good.
I mean, he threw for 300 yards. Yes, he had three interceptions. 2 of those were tipped up at the line, though.
Which is on him.
I understand that.
He was bad. He's bad.
Ooh, Cordero Patterson.
I tried to tell you.
2 touchdowns.
I tried my damnedest to tell you. Mm-hmm. 3rd leading receiver on the team.
Yep.
Just so you know.
Yep.
That's a guy that should be on in fantasy football. And guess what? If you play on Yahoo, he's running back and wide receiver eligible, which is good.
It's very good. Very good. Yeah, the game was never in doubt.
Nope.
But like I said, that score was going to be closer longer than you expected it to be. The Cardinals beat the Vikings 34-33. I don't know what to make of the Cardinals. They look so good, but there are times where the defense still looks lost. And maybe it's just the inconsistency, the youth that is still on that team. I know that they added a veteran presence with J.J. Watt and all of that. I think that makes a difference overall in the game, but they're still going to have bad showings. And
You're going to have to win track meets if you're the Cardinals.
And yesterday, Kirk Cousins had 3 touchdown passes by halftime. Mm-hmm. He didn't have another one the rest of the game. Dalvin Cook was good, 22 carries, 131 yards. But Kyler Murray is the dude. Where's Kyler Murray at on your MVP pecking order right now?
He's in the top 3.
I would say so.
It's him, Brady, and Derek Carr.
There is no doubt. 4 total touchdowns. He had 5 total touchdowns the week before. He's got a rushing touchdown in each of the games. 29-36 for 400 yards.
There are 2 third receivers on both of these teams that we need to talk about. Rondale Moore, the guy I tried to tell you all offseason.
Yep.
If you didn't listen, you're too late.
Yep.
The other one, and you have a shot to go get this guy, and I cannot believe, literally, he was the 3rd name on my fucking DraftKings screen, and I never said it out loud. KJ Osborne. He's the 3, and it's not even close. Mm-hmm. And it's not even close. And he is worth having because the Vikings are going to be in a lot of shootouts because their defense sucks. Hey, guess what? This week, Seahawks. Next week, Browns. Then you get the Lions. But then you go Panthers, Cowboys, Ravens, Chargers, Packers, 49ers. Lions again. Steelers, Bears. Rams, Packers, Bears. You see how I only said 4 of those games really quietly and they're against the same 2 teams? Yeah. Every game that's not in this division is a shootout for them.
Yeah. I heard a lot of games that are going to be in the 30s.
Where they're going to give up a shitload of points, which means there are going to probably be 4 fantasy relevant players on this team. KJ Osborne is, I can't say he's my number 1 ad this week. Cordero Patterson is probably my number 1 ad this week. But KJ Osborne is going to be real close.
The Tennessee Titans beat the Seattle Seahawks 33-30.
Hold on, before we move off Arizona, just because a lot of people said this in the comments, and I have to agree with you.
Okay.
If the Arizona Cardinals had damn near any other coach in the NFL, I would say they're probably the best team in the league. They don't, and they're not. Offensively, they can just kill you. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. They can't run a greasy peg up a cat's ass, and they can't figure out who they want to run the ball. And it doesn't matter. Because Kyler Murray is so freaking good that he's just going to score on you. And yesterday, 5 carries. That's what I said about the difference between Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. I firmly believe that Kyler Murray could stop running and it wouldn't matter. I don't think Lamar Jackson can. That's the difference. And I'm not trying to slight Lamar. It's just two different ways of playing the game. But Kyler Murray is so good.
The Seattle Seahawks defense had nothing for Derrick Henry. in that game. Tennessee Titans win 33-30. Derrick Henry had 237 total yards. He caught 6 of 6 targets for 55 yards. And then he ran the ball 35 times for 182 and 3 touchdowns.
That was one of my favorite plays of yesterday. Mm-hmm. I said it in the Sunday show. Everybody's off Derrick Henry. He's going to be low owned. He was. 7% the millionaire, and he scored 50.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Boomer Bust had another boom 2 weeks in a row for the Seattle Seahawks. Tyler Lockett, 8 catches on 11 targets, 178 yards, and 1 touchdown.
By the way, Julio Jones, tried to tell you. A.J. Brown did not do what I thought he would, but Julio Jones was fine. Mm-hmm. I look at this Tennessee Titans team. These are 2 teams that I still look at them exactly how I did before we ever played a game. People lost their shit on Tennessee, and that, they suck so bad. No, they don't. And they lost their shit on Seattle. They're the best team in the league. No, they're not. No, they are not, and here's why. Because they cannot stop you. They cannot stop you from doing exactly what you want to do. Do you realize how many yards the Tennessee Titans had? 532. 532 yards. They had the ball for 43 minutes.
That's hard to do.
That's hard. And Seattle's undisciplined. They can't run. Look, Seattle's tried to tell you who they are.
They're passing team.
They've tried. I'll be honest with you. They play the Vikings this week. I don't know that I like them against the Vikings because I don't know that you can shoot out with teams like that when you only have 2 weapons. You have Tyler Lockett and you have DK Metcalf. And guess what? DK Metcalf, through 2 weeks, we've seen what happens when he gets number 1 no-doubt coverage. Tyler Lockett can kill you as a 2. I don't think he can beat you as a 1. You have 2 elite 2s to me. I don't know that you have a 1. DK Metcalf gets double covered and he's a ghost. He had 11 targets yesterday, 5 catches, and 40-some-odd yards. He's a ghost. He's a ghost. You give Tyler Lockett single coverage and he will obliterate you. If you shield the coverage to Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf's going to obliterate you. At the end of the day, neither one's a great route runner. Tyler Lockett's small. And you're going up against, just look at the fucking schedule. Now you have to go to Minnesota, a team that just played stride for stride with Arizona, who is better than you. You have to go to the 49ers, who are markedly better defensively than you are. Rams, Steelers. I know what we saw out of the Saints yesterday wasn't good. If you catch Jameis with that New Orleans, they'll kill you. They will kill you. This is the weak link in this division. I've tried to tell you, it's not that I'm trying to slight Russell Wilson. It's that I'm looking at everything around him that's atrophying like a skeleton. And nobody seems to care. Nobody cares. You just got decimated by Derrick Henry. You knew it was coming and you still couldn't stop it. They ran him 35 times. His most carries by a running back in like 3 years in the NFL. Why? Because they knew you had no chance of stopping it. I'm going to keep saying this on Seattle until people fucking listen to me. They're not that good. They're just not that good.
The Dallas Cowboys beat the Los Angeles Chargers 20-17. It wasn't the shootout that we expected it was going to be, and the Chargers just they continue to be that team that should be better than the outcomes that they have. Granted, they won in week 1, but Washington had to give them the game. They lose this week, and it may be because they gave the Dallas Cowboys the game. It was, touchdown plays called back by penalties. There were penalties on that last drive that they probably could have gotten into the end zone, but the drive stalled out with the penalties, and they had to kick the field goal to tie it at 17-all. And then you gave Dallas a chance at the end of the game, and Greg Zuerlein, old Legatron, who seems like he's 85 years old, knocked in a 56-yarder to beat you. They're going to be in every game. They're going to be in every game. The problem is they're going to win some, they're going to lose some. This may, they may just still continue to be the 500-ish team that they were last year.
You saw exactly what the Chargers are. They're the same undisciplined team they were last year. Everybody talked about, the defense is going to be so much better. They have 420 yards yesterday.
Yep.
They had 12 penalties for almost 100 yards. That's who they are. They're the worst team in this division. Record may not end up that way because they do have talent in a lot of places. They're the worst team in this division. They don't contend with Kansas City. They don't. Justin Herbert's great, but you're a year away from being where everybody had them this year. That 12-win bullshit never made any sense to me.
Yeah.
It just didn't. You had them as a 12-win team, and I went, that's too high. And then the more I heard it, the more I went, this doesn't make any sense. Because last year they were one of the most undisciplined teams in the league. And I'm not trying to throw shade at them. I think they have the building blocks of a really good team moving forward. But you just got some pieces that don't make a whole lot of sense to me. Austin Eckler is your number one running back. He can't run between the tackles. He has to get to the outside. So when you need 3 yards, you don't have that guy. Do I think Larry Roundtree can be that eventually? Yeah, he had 1 touch yesterday. So, I mean, he's just not there yet. This is a guy that came from Missouri. I do like the talent. I told you I like the talent in the offseason. But when you need 3 yards, you don't have that guy. And you have to get into these high-flying, shoot-'em-out games, and you just can't stop people. And it's going to take Brandon Staley some time to get that right.
140 total yards yesterday for Tony Pollard. This is a guy I was heavy on in the, this guy's going to be something at some point in this league. Now, I'm not saying he's going to take over Zeke's workload or anything like that, because that's not going to happen. They're paying Zeke too much money, but you're going to see a lot more of Tony Pollard from now on. 13 carries, 109 yards. He had 3 catches for 31 yards, and he had a big old touchdown. What do you think about the future prospect of Tony Pollard?
He's fantasy playable. That's all I can tell you. I don't know how that backfield is going to go. Tony Pollard looks to be the better running back. Why that is, I have no idea.
I don't either.
Rob Johnson said in the comments that the Chargers should have won this game by 14 points. I don't disagree with you, but they didn't. And now you're 2 years, 2 head coaches, same thing. And Stephen Towle said Austin Eckler had a touchdown right up the gut yesterday. Yeah, and if you put me in a dress, all of a sudden I'd be the prettiest girl at the bar. Okay, he had 1. I'm talking about lining up 3rd and 2. You've got to convert this to sustain a drive. You can't do it. They have to run this gimmicky motion shit to get either Eckler on the outside or one-on-one with Mike Williams or Keenan Allen, whatever it is. There's no ability to just line up and pop you. They don't have that. And they had it for 2 years. That's why you can't win close games. Invariably, look at teams that are good in close games. What can they do? Hat on hat, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. The Chargers can't do that. And I don't dislike the team. I think Brandon Staley was a great hire. I love Justin Herbert. They have weapons. You've heard me wax poetic about Josh Palmer. It's coming. Trust me, it's coming. I've watched all 22 on him now 2 weeks in a row, and I watch him run routes and go, yeah, when he gets the snap count, he's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
It's not a slight at them. You're missing a piece. You're missing Melvin Gordon. That's what you need, is somebody that can do that, and they don't have it.
Eckler caught 9 of 9 yesterday, so he continues to be a PPR monster.
Stephen Towle asked, how do you fix it? I think you have the player. You just have to trust him. I think Larry Roundtree can ultimately be that guy. Is it going to take some time? Yes. You know who I know definitively it's not? I know definitively it's not Justin Jackson. I know that beyond any shadow of a doubt.
Yes.
It's not him.
And I'm not saying, before anybody says that, I'm not saying Ezekiel Elliott is garbage. Ezekiel was fine yesterday. The thing with
4.5 yards carry.
But I think Tony Pollard's going to see a lot more. That's going to be more of a timeshare than it has
I would
been.
agree. I just now I see those two as the Thunder and Lightning. You have and I think you're going to see them on the field in that weird little set where they're both offset to Dak Prescott. You can run RPOs off that. That is the next iteration of this offense, because you're scared to death that Tony Pollard can get to the outside, and you're scared to death that Ezekiel Elliott might be able to run over one of your linebackers in the hole.
Yep.
So, I look at this Cowboys team, and it's very dynamic. The offense is very, very dynamic. And when they figure out exactly where to put all the pieces on defense, the defense is going to get markedly better. I don't think they've even tapped into the potential of Micah Parsons, and yet he still jumps off the screen.
And then in Sunday Night Football last night, we got the showdown that we all wanted with a 1-point victory for the Baltimore Ravens over the Kansas City Chiefs, 36-35. Lamar played great. He threw for over 200 yards, rushed for 100 yards as well, had 2 rushing touchdowns in it. Patrick Mahomes, he continues to do Patrick Mahomes-y kind of things.
That is the team with the Baltimore Ravens that is the reason they were still in my 8 Super Bowl contenders, even after they lost to the Raiders. Because there is a side of that. Be really honest with yourself. Lamar Jackson had 2 picks. One of them was ugly. And yet he still found a way. He still just found a way to do it. And I very much believe in this team. Kansas City has 2 great big problems.
What's that?
The defense is not good. It has not accelerated the way that I thought it would, adding a Nick Bolton and having the pieces and getting younger and the linebackers being faster. It hadn't mattered. And that makes me nervous because I think teams that can shoot out with them, you're going to struggle in those games.
Well, they've had that problem. They get in these shootout-y games, and it could go either way. I mean, I think both of their games were that way with the Raiders last year.
They were. It's one thing to have that problem. It's another thing for teams to now have 3 years worth of tape on that.
Yeah.
And they can see it. All right, look, I'll give you a perfect example. John Harbaugh has the ball on his own 40-yard line. 4th and 1, 4th and 2, whatever it was. If you don't convert this, you're probably handing them the game. There was so little fear in him that he looked at Lamar Jackson and went, what do you want to do? Knowing full well what the answer was.
Yeah.
He knew full well what Lamar Jackson was going to say. I want to run that quarterback power right down their throat because they can't stop us. They cannot stop me, and I know it. That's damning. And by the way, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You come into my way of thinking on him yet? Or, do I not know shit? Because I had a lot of people that say, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Do I not, though? I think I do a little bit.
Yeah.
He sucks. I mean, sucks something awful. God, he's bad. I still cannot for the life of me figure out what Andy Reid and that front office saw on tape of him where they went, yeah, that's what we got to have. We've got to have Clyde, the little fucking bowling ball himself.
It's worked the way they wanted it to, 3 times in 18 games? That's it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been the force that they wanted him to be 3 times since he got drafted last year.
And now teams have tape on him. I mean, that's just flat out. They have tape on him. They know what he is.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, his long rush of the year is 9 yards.
Yeah, Kansas City is still they're still the best team in the AFC.
I don't know that I agree with you.
Really?
I don't know that I ever agreed with you, to be honest. I've had Buffalo ahead of them the whole time.
Yeah. Kansas City's they've earned that spot at the top, and it's going to take a lot to knock them off.
They just have holes. They have holes that really bother me.
They do, but they've had them. They've had them for a couple of years, and it turns out, look, here's the thing. You got Patrick Mahomes, who wins more of these games than he loses. And he's going to continue to do that. As long as you still have Travis Kelce to lean on. Mecole Hardman, by the way. He had 8 catches. I know he didn't get into the end zone, but that looks like that's beginning to work. As Tyreek Hill doesn't have it, somebody else is going to have it. And Mecole Hardman is the number 2.
Tyreek Hill was shocking to me. That was my number 1 receiver of the day.
Yeah.
But Travis Kelce, just, good Lord. By the way, the running back situation in Baltimore is going to make you want to pull your fucking hair out. Latavius Murray scores the touchdown. Tyson Williams out-touches him.
Yay.
And Tyson Williams caught 2 passes, which is rare for running backs in Baltimore.
But this is exactly what Baltimore needed. Obviously, after losing the game to the Raiders in Week 1 on Monday Night Football, they come out against a very tough opponent and end up edging out the game. Lamar Jackson's got the confidence to, get that last yard on 4th and 1. this is a team that looks like they are, they're going to continue to be at the top of the AFC, and they very well could be the representative in the Super Bowl. I don't feel any differently about Baltimore. Started to feel a little bit differently after they lost to the Raiders last week, but now the Raiders have brought them back up. It's weird how that works. The Raiders turned around and beat another team that we started to that we believe in, and that makes that loss by the Ravens last week not look so bad.
Yeah, I just look at that. There are 2 undefeated teams in the AFC.
Just 2.
2, and it's the Raiders and the Broncos. If you had that, you're a witch. I mean, straight up, you are a fucking witch if you had that.
Was that a prop bet? Could we get a prop bet on that?
If you could, you would have made $1 bajillion on it. They would have had to have made up a number for what they would have given you on that.
Yeah.
The AFC is just really, really deep. Mm-hmm. And it's going to make the bad teams look worse. And I'll be honest with you. After 2 weeks of the season, and this is something that we'll touch in the team-by-team videos that we're going to do this week.
Yep.
How many teams do you know are bad in the AFC?
How many teams do I know are bad?
There's one in every division, at least.
Well, yeah, I know the Jets are bad.
The Jets are bad.
I know the Bengals are bad.
The Bengals are bad.
I know the Jaguars are bad.
The Jaguars are bad.
And
the Texans are bad.
The Texans are bad. Mm-hmm. I think they're not as bad as we thought they were, but they're still bad.
Yep. There's not one in the West.
The Dolphins are bad.
The Dolphins are bad, and the Patriots are bad. Mm-hmm. Those are the teams that are bad. And you know what? If the Patriots or the Dolphins were in the NFC, would they be bad? Probably not. They're probably the second best team in the NFC East.
The Colts are on the fringe. The Colts are almost bad.
They're close. Depends on how much more Jake Eason we have to see.
Right.
If it's a lot of Jake Eason or
Yep. Week 2's in the books in the NFL. We will
Not
have.
quite. We got one more game.
Oh, that's right. We got Monday Night Football tonight. We'll, of course, have the Greene on Greene pick coming up on the ESPN Asheville show. We'll do the full preview of tonight's game as the Green Bay Packers on the revenge tour going up against the Detroit Lions. I don't like this for Lions fans. Don't even turn your television on. The dude that the video went around last week of him trashing his house, don't even turn the damn TV on because you're not going to want to see what happens tonight when Aaron Rodgers is at home in Lambeau Field on Monday Night Football. It's not going to be good. But we'll do the full preview of that game, the picks, and all this afternoon on the ESPN Asheville Show. The Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene, heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And, we'll also talk about what happened in college football over the weekend. Jeremy still struggling with the 10-10 record or whatever. What was it, 9-9?
Yeah, you're right. It was 10-10.
10-10.
I didn't put the Friday games in the list because I split that too.
Gotcha.
Because Maryland didn't fucking cut her.
So 10-10 in college football over the weekend for Flo Stradamus. But there again, as long as you're not on the losing side of the ledger, you're still doing all right.
Well, if you're splitting, you're on the losing side because you're losing the VIG, which you have to be at least 55%, which I still am for the year, mainly because I went 11-2 in week 0. And from there, it's just been tongue kissing your sister. Just
Stephen House's Lions win.
I was ignoring it just in the hopes that it would go away.
It's not going away. It's out there now. Screenshotted, remembered. We'll see you in the morning, Stephen. We'll talk about that one in the morning right here in the Wicked Weed studio. Don't forget to check out our friends at wickedweedbrewing.com. Wicked Weed Brewing, drink different. Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene. We'll see you this afternoon on ESPN Asheville.